Well, hello everyone. This is Wilson Cole, and I am president of Adams, Evans & Ross. And this subject's going to be a little bit different. And this, if you missed our webinar, this video will kind of go through the top, kind of take the low-hanging fruit, the highest points and principles from it, and kind of break it down in a very high-level way. But I do recommend that you go through the webinar because there's a lot of information there. But the thing that I want to talk to you about, and it's something that I know a little something about, is how to scale a business. You know, for 31 years, Adams, Evans & Ross has been around, and quite frankly, for 15 to 18 of those years, we had roughly 10 to 12 team members, and then we started expanding a little bit. But in the last 5 years, since 2008, Adams, Evans & Ross has grown to roughly about 60 folks, and our numbers have tripled. And it was from learning how to scale, why to scale, how to scale, and in the areas of focus. And so I kind of just wanted to share that with you, to where if you're looking at scaling your business, maybe you can learn from some of our mistakes and take some of the things that we learned and how to scale. Well, number one, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you have enough cash in reserve. You may not ever need it. If it's done properly, you won't need nearly as much as you think, but you want to have enough cash to where if things go terribly wrong, you're not hurt. So that's first and foremost. If a company is out there and they're wanting to scale and they've got $20,000 in the bank, and then the guy says, well, fine, my house is free and clear, I'm going to go finance my $500,000 to $1 million on the house and pull all of that equity out. If it goes well, it may be okay. It's not a risk that I'd want to take. But make sure that whatever you do, if it goes terribly wrong, it doesn't affect your business. But also make sure that you have enough cash to scale. And here's the reason why. And when I say, if you think you need, I'm just using round numbers, let's say you need $1 million to scale. Realistically, you probably only need about $100,000. But having that cash in reserve makes you sleep better at night, and you make better decisions. Because I had a mentor once tell me years ago, whenever you're faced with a decision, ask yourself 3 questions. If I do this now, is it in the next 5 minutes, is it better or worse? And most of the time, when you're going to make a decision for 5 minutes, is it better or worse? It's always going to make it better. Okay. In 90 days, is it better or worse? Sometimes you may just be kicking that ball out. So is it better or worse? The last question you ask yourself is, in 2 to 5 years, is it better or worse? And if you look at it and go, oh no, if I do this now in 5 years or in 2 years, it's going to be much worse. Unless you get it's going to be better, you just simply don't pull that trigger and do it. So that's kind of my litmus test on that. So focus on the cash and make sure you have enough. Even though you're not going to need it, you're just going to make better decisions as you scale. The other thing is you need to have a replicatable lead generation, business development, basically model. And you can go out and find plenty of these lead generation companies where they say, hey, we'll guarantee you 10 people or 10 appointments and things on those lines. And quite frankly, some of those things do work, but the prices of those packages are so incredibly expensive, you're almost swapping cash, at least on the front side. There may be some benefit 6 months or a year down the road, but study, a lot of them have tons of information on their website, the best practices, how to get leads and all that. Study it, replicate it, and do it on your own. I think you'd be real pleased and surprised with how well that can go. Before we started really scaling back in 2017 and 18, I hired somebody as a consultant to build our lead generation team out. And we went from about 75 to 85 new clients a year to, at the time of this recording, we brought in 205 new client. And anybody that knows our industry, our clients stay with us forever. So that is not only revenue now, but that's revenue in 5 years, 10 years, and things along those lines. The other thing is that you want to have a process to be able to close on those leads. And so you want to have an experienced sales rep. There's multiple ways of doing that. If it's the owner that knows it, if you're not out having to cold call and you're spending an hour a day and 2 30-minute sessions closing 2 new clients, probably the route to go. But have a replicatable closing process. Fourthly, you want to have, and it's kind of along the lines of the money, is you want to have a way to make sure you get paid. So you want to have good processes. Check out, make sure that especially if you're extending credit, that they're capable of paying you, that they don't have issues and you're just going to dig your hole deeper. So have a good financial process. And lastly, have a good client service process. A lot of the things that I pride myself on is the way that our clients are treated. Now, 87% of the time, we're going to be able to get things collected, and clients are going to like us for that. But we have had clients 20 years ago where we didn't have those processes in places to where we would collect for them, but the process beat them down so badly, they swore never to have to use a collection agency again. So we have spent the last 20 years, and especially the last 5, our client service now has 6 people that their only job is to make sure that active clients are kept informed and things along those lines. And that pays huge dividends because for 2 reasons. Number one, if we're successful, then it reaffirms that. But also, 1 out of 8, we're not going to collect. Now, if it's been a client that we've had 10 collections with that were successful and we didn't collect this one, hey, the ball bounces one way, they know we have to sue it. But if it's a brand new client and they turn over an account and the debtor is basically, oh, you're going to have to sue me, it's a private equity owned firm and you're going to have to sue them and things along those lines, we want to make sure that that client is informed through the legal process, but also that they're informed along the way, because if we're not collecting it and it's been a miserable experience, then they're certainly not going to utilize us again. And so make sure that you have good client service mechanisms. It can be someone, whether if you're a single practitioner, it can be follow-up emails, it can be setting aside time. If you're wanting to scale, I can tell you, a single practitioner, I'm not saying that you can't make $1 gazillion. You're just not going to be able to scale that business and get you out of it. But there's certain things that you can do with follow-up emails. We use videos a lot. Our client service people are trained by me, but also if they say, hey, we've gotten in funds and here's when you're going to have your check, there's a video of me pretty much explaining the same thing. So it connects me with our clients. But you also want to make sure that you have people that are good at doing what they're doing. One of our client service managers worked for another company, and it was a phone company, a VoIP company, and I was having issues. And I called over, and I'd been passed around prior to him 10 different times, and the problem never got solved. He says, you know what, I'm going to stay with you. Let's see if we can get it solved. And he was on the phone with me for 30 minutes and stayed on me when he passed around and got my problem fixed. At the end of that conversation, I was offering him a job. He laughed, rejected it, and I said, I'm dead serious. I want to talk to you. If now's not a good time, then, when you feel like you've hit the limit there, then give us a shout. Well, about 2 months later, and he and I exchanged some emails along the way because I was trying to close a deal. He wound up signing up and coming on board with us. So if you run into somebody that gives you outstanding client services, and especially if in this day and age where everybody's remotely, if you're sitting in California and they're sitting in Florida or Iowa, typically you can hire them, and setting up a tax account, if you use Gusto or one of the payroll services, may cost you up front a couple of $100, and then just their standard taxes that you'd have to pay in your state either way. So you want to make sure, number one, that you've got enough money to cover the burn rate. You want to make sure that you have a predictable and scalable lead generation. You want to be able to close. You want to make sure that you have good financial and credit onboarding. And then also you want to make sure that you have solid client services. If we can help you with collections, by all means, reach out to us at staffingdebt.com, and you can book an appointment with myself and or one of our client service people. And at that point, you can experience firsthand just why we're so proud of our client service people and the product that we provide to our clients, because we collect a lot of money. But let me know if we can help. And I do recommend, if you haven't received the invite to the full webinar, email Jen, Jen, at aercollections.com, and she will send you out an invite the next time that we're going to be running that webinar. Thank you. Hey guys, it's Wilson again, and this video was brought to you by Adams, Evans, and Ross. And if you like the video, please make sure that you click on the subscribe button and also like the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below as well. If you'd like to learn more about our company, please visit our website at staffingdebt.com. And also remember, if there's no collection, there's absolutely no cost at all.